This is the announcement segment of Blind Android Users podcast. Stay tuned to hear important information regarding the podcast, surveys, and the latest news.
So we'll turn to the announcement section, and I said we had a couple of anniversaries. Austin, is there anything you want to give us by way of announcements?
No, but you need to talk about two anniversaries, and that is the first anniversary is because of which our podcast is there, and that is the 15th year of Android. In fact, it was 2 weeks back, and I don't know how we forgot to wish Android 15 years. And the next anniversary is 25 years for Google. I can't believe it. I don't know where I was, but there was no internet, at least home to home in India. So I read that and I was like, wow, 25 years. So Warren needs to talk about it more and we can all comment on it.
So before Warren starts it, it's also the anniversary of our accessible Android app. We released it last year, and I cannot believe how time flies, and it's already 1 year. Wow.
Wow, that is. Hopefully it will go on to reach its 25 and more. Yeah, 25 years of Google. That's about right, I guess. When I first started using it. Warren, what are your reflections?
So, Austin, 25 years ago, I wonder, you were a little butchkin out there, probably something like that. So, I think you wouldn't know too much as to what was going
No,
on
I
back then.
was 11 years old.
Okay. Now, this is quite interesting because Google started as a little search engine, and that's what they were, and we all knew that. And maybe there were just like a couple links on that page, or maybe just an edit box, and I'm feeling lucky. You guys remember what the page used to look like?
I mean, to be fair, it's not a lot more cluttered over 25 years. You did have that. You had the search. And do you remember the "I'm feeling lucky" when you could tease it? So if you this genuinely happened, they have changed it. If you typed in French military victories and hit "I'm feeling lucky," you got like a 404, and it said, "Did you mean French military defeats?" Which I thought was
Wasn't that interesting? I'm not sure if the French
really
were that
funny.
successful. Well, they were back in the 1800s.
But I mean, it was fixed, wasn't it? Like it was
Yeah.
a joke. They fixed it. And then there was an erratic one, which I've now. No, it was weapons of mass destruction. That's it. So after the second Iraq war got a little bit discredited, if you typed in something like Iraq weapons of mass destruction hit, I'm feeling lucky, that's when you got the 404. Weapons of mass destruction not found. That they used to use that "I'm feeling lucky" button very amusingly. The French one was, "Your search did not return any results. Did you mean French military defeats?" Yeah, that was it. They weren't apocryphal. I tried both of them when I was told about them, and that was what actually happened.
Brilliant. Yeah, but let's look down the history. And Google has been there for 25 years. I can't believe that it's been there for 25 years and has become like the portal of the internet. Everybody knows about Google, regardless of where you live at. People say, Google that, Google that. And look at where we are today. And now we're talking about hardware. But the one that we're also impressed with is Android's birthday, which we should have talked about last week or a couple of weeks. Was it a couple of weeks ago? I believe it was. Was it last week?
Yeah, I think
No,
it was
couple of
weeks
before.
ago. Yeah. And we totally forgot to mention that because back then, when they took to the stage announcing that the Google Dream phone, which I still have, I don't know how I forgot to talk about that, or any of us forgot to talk about that. But congratulations to Android turning 15 and now Google turning 25, a full-grown adult. No wonder we got what we have.
So my brother was an iPhone user, and I'm very happy to say that I converted him into Android, and he got the Samsung Galaxy S23.
Let's talk about some of the things, though, that we liked that Google has done in the past and that we no longer have. For me personally, I think the one that I bemoan the most has to do with that inbox. I've talked about it infinitum. We got inbox, I think it was back in 2015, and it was just beautiful. Google took it away, say they're going to bring some of the functionalities to Gmail. And I tell you what, it's been like, what, almost 10 years. We still don't have some of those things from inbox. What are some of you guys' stuff from
Well,
Google that you miss?
what is it that Inbox did? Because like folks won't have used it. So what is it you liked about it? What did it do? Or
The
why
message
was it?
organization was a whole lot better than what we have in Gmail. Gmail can try all it can, but frankly, there's so many functionalities in inbox that Gmail still does not. And I don't know why they're not bringing those things in here.
Yeah, like what though?
Like I said, the message organization was better, and like the all that AI stuff, because Google has been in that AI for a long time. We just didn't really give too much to it back then. But that inbox, if you ever experience inbox and you look at what Gmail is, you can see the difference. Did you ever use inbox, Ed? I don't think so.
I
Doesn't sound like
don't
you
think
did.
so. No,
No.
but like, so why was it better? What could you do with it? How could
So
you
like
view this stuff?
all your social stuff, media stuff, and all of that, the UI was cleaner, and the organization was better. You can select things, easily manage mail, unlike what we have now. Gmail is like so cluttered, it doesn't make sense at all, especially when you go to the settings.
Are you
uh,
talking about the app here or the website of Gmail?
we're talking an app. Inbox
Yeah.
was an app, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm talking
you
about
do
the
it-
same Gmail app.
The app. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't like the Gmail app anyway. I
No,
never liked
it's
it.
terrible. And Inbox was
yeah.
such a great joy to use. Now, several other apps have kind of tried to replicate that, and I think the one that comes to mind maybe like OnMail. Unfortunately, some of the things are not very accessible, but other than that, OnMail is the closest that comes to Inbox.
Yeah. Sounds the Gmail app, anything that can do to clean it and have better versions of it, I would be up for that. I'm not a fan, to be honest. As people who have seen my post on the list would know. Yeah, what does everyone else think? What have you liked or missed about features that have come and gone on Gmail?
So one of the shocking news that I got today, and I don't know, people must have got this earlier, is that Google is killing basic HTML Gmail in Jan 24, and even I use that today. It's so nice, it's so uncluttered, and it's so really simplistic. Although it's the standard or the new version of Gmail does not give you, it gives you a lot of features, but it's very very like cluttered. And this has very nice shortcuts, like if you press X, then you can go to your first message with the checkboxes for each message, so you can go to your first message instantly without reading the whole page. So I don't know why they're killing that, and I hope somebody does some trick and brings it back.
See, I don't like HTML View. I've never liked it, particularly since standard has come, because what you do with standard, obviously, is you do not use standard view with your forms mode off or your web NVDA or narrator scan thing on. You do what you do in Google Docs, and you turn it off, and it looks like Outlook, and you use X to select a message, so not jumping anywhere, it just does it. What is annoying about standard view for me is that when you open a message, it doesn't continue to work like docs and sheets and slides. You can't read it while keeping forms mode off. You have to then go back into forms mode, which is fiddly. But like like navigation wise, I much prefer standard view because I don't try and navigate it like a web page. Like I say, I navigate it like a Google app.
Interesting you mentioned that, because I personally have not been using, the basic whatever for quite a while. I use the standard, and frankly, I prefer the standard any day over that basic stuff. So makes two of us, and I don't have any problem with it. And Austin, you can still use letter X to move through messages. Why is it not working for you?
No, it is working, but then that is another thing. But if you want to, let's say you open the message, then to read it, you have to go through the whole clutter of the page to go to this feature, that feature, and then you press H and you go to your message. So it's a lot of steps involved. But basic,
So
you just press
yeah.
the heading level and you go to your message.
Oh no, I mean the way you do it from standard is you turn forms mode off. Forms mode off again. Go to the bottom of the page and hit H, and you get there. But it should render it like it renders a Google Doc, and I don't know why it doesn't. It really ought to do
Yeah.
that.
So see, for me, if I'm on the computer, I don't have that auto forms mode on. I never like that. I really hate that with a passion. So I got mine set.
No,
to
I turn it
manual.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
I never
So,
have
so
it
when you
auto on.
open the message, you have to turn it. Sorry, no, you have to turn the virtual cursor back on, isn't it? It's not forms mode. So you turn the virtual cursor off to navigate in standard view, like you would a Google Doc. Sorry, like you would in Google Docs, and then when you open it, you turn your virtual cursor back on again.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I miss, and I don't know if you guys remember this, the Google Plus. I used to like that. It was the only social network that I ever belonged to. And
Yeah, I'll say +1 because
yeah,
I
all
really,
the plus
yeah,
one, plus two comes from Google Plus. You know?
yeah. I used to really enjoy using Google Plus because there were communities, and following those communities it was amazing. And one other thing, since I'm talking, I should say that what I'm missing, it was in my first days of Android, Google Talk. And also, one another app that I'm missing is Google Allo. You know, that they released along with Duo. There was a really simple messaging app. It was super simple.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah.
That was good. Plus, I never did anything with Plus particularly, but yeah, that the Google Allo was good.
I like, Google Plus because you could interact with developers on there. And I remember that's how I got the developer of the Kuma keyboard to make it accessible. And I joined the community and I voiced out my stuff, and people supported what I was saying. And in no time at all, that keyboard became accessible. So I really like the Google Plus. However, gone with the wind.
I remember I was in the Nova Launcher community, and the developer was super friendly.
And that's a good launcher as well. And things I think to thank Google for as well. Like with Google Drive, it is the most generous, I think, of the mainstream file sharing platforms in terms of free storage space. It's slightly less generous than it used to be with things like Gmail, but you get way more than you would with OneDrive or Dropbox. So I do like that. Not a feature that has disappeared, happily, one that is still with us.
Speaking of Google Drive, I don't know the reason why people keep on using Dropbox, since they give it 2 gigs and Drive give you 15 gigs.
Yeah.
It's like it's 7 times bigger. So
I think it all has to do with familiarity, something you got familiar with. And, Dropbox, let's face it, it's probably the first cloud storages. I'm not sure if this is what became Dropbox. There was something called Drop Load. You guys remember that? There was a Drop Load. And
No.
I'm wondering if that's what became Dropbox. And so, and
do
Dropbox was one of the very first.
days? Do you remember? Do you mean the days to the time where RapidShare and those file share services were there? Maybe that was the time.
Yeah, but RapidShare was kind of very convoluted to use. Dropload,
Dropload was there.
was more like like Inbox. It was very easy to use. And
That was like
sometimes
mega upload.
I thought maybe Dropbox or Dropload was the parent of Dropbox. Or maybe they're unrelated.
So one of the
I'm not
one of the
sure. But no,
reasons
Drive.
Austin, take it again.
one of the reasons that people still use Drive over Dropbox is that Drive never advertises their desktop app, and Dropbox you get always with an email, you get that link, download this desktop app and all. So people have that app on their desktop which starts with Windows, and so it's like OneDrive. You just paste a file in there and it uploads it. So that's easier than Drive. You go to the page and upload the file, and then it does not start with Windows, so you don't know if it is uploaded. So all those risks are the problems are there with Drive. So I think they should advertise their app more.
Yeah, that's fair enough. They don't. I mean, there is an app. It's a good point though. OneDrive and Dropbox are almost app first, aren't they? And they will start. If you haven't bothered installing the Drive app, then yeah, that's a fair point.
Well, let's face it, marketing is not Google's forte. So it goes without saying.
Building hardware is not Google's forte, I would say.
Can we just stop this crap?
Yeah, even I agree with that.
Oh,
Google only
brother.
builds Google only builds Fisher Price hardware.
Yeah, there you go. The follower of Ed, discipleship. Knuckleheads and a bunch of cattle thieves.
So, talking about the things that we miss regarding Google, I think for me there are two things. One that was mentioned by Saleh, which is the Google Talk. It was, for me, the only messaging app that Google did, and it was right. After that, they started the mess. Hangouts, and then the several apps together. I don't remember their names, Allo and Duo and that stuff. And until now, I think they didn't or they couldn't do something similar to Talk, which was the best with respect to Google and messaging. And the other thing is the high quality voices of the Google TTS. I think you remember this. They just released a version. Yeah, the voices were not really great, but at least they tried. And unfortunately, this didn't live long, so they removed all the voices. But actually, I still want so much to have high quality voices from Google. I think if they are going to do such thing, it would be something great.
Karen, it's funny you mentioned the high quality voices. I always say, every dog in the house have access to the high quality voices except Google's own TalkBack. And that just kind of baffles me because why? I mean, you install any godforsaken app out there that utilizes TTS and you can have that high quality voices from Google, but
Yeah, but
not
even
TalkBack.
those, they
Why?
are not considered high quality. But those even are not really high quality. They are like if you just listen to them, like they are compressed. So the thing is to have high quality voice. Do you remember the ones that they tried to release back maybe 5-6 years back or something, maybe maybe longer? It was for maybe 1 or 2 months. Do you remember them?
Well, believe it or not, I pulled out I found an old Galaxy S5, and it's so funny hearing the TTS back then. Actually, it doesn't sound bad at all. But what I'm saying is, like, for example, so if you use the multilingual TTS or the auto switch TTS or something along that line, or maybe Google Playbooks or some other ebook reading apps, they have access to that nice Google Voices that we had a little while ago last year, and then Google reverted that to where we don't have it anymore. That's the one that I'm kind of a little bit upset about.
I don't
Yeah, I
think
think Kareem's saying
Kareem's.
that there were better ones,
Yeah.
5 or 6,
Yes,
even than
they're
those
more
ones.
like assistant sounding voices rather than.
Yeah, well, so that's the one that
TTS
I
engines.
think she's talking about that I have on my Galaxy S5 that I found the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how the times have changed. And it sure does sound a little bit different than the Google TTS that we have today. So, but for me, if only we could just have access to what we have now that other apps have access to, but not Google's own TalkBack, I'll be satisfied. But when you talk about Google Talk, Karen, I think for me, though, I kind of like Hangouts. Hangouts was very good because it combined everything. It should just be the one platform, solution there. But Google, keeps duplicating things, and we have so many of these things. And before you know it, one of them is axed. That's the problem.
Yeah. So yeah. In a work, you have like chat. You've got spaces in a work context, which are a bit weird. Sort of like groups, but not. Yeah. So many slightly overlapping options.
Yeah, but even with Hangouts, things were complicated to the point that some things shouldn't be complicated that much. So I still remember when you just wanted to add someone to start a chat. It was something like you should go here, and I was just going to the email sometimes and using the email that I received an email from someone. I was just using the email to link to tap the link to open Hangouts. So although it should be something very easy to go and type the name and start a chat. It wasn't there in Hangouts. So yeah, they
Yeah.
are the best people in complicating stuff.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of having like a hub, for all the messaging needs and everything being in there, like what the good old BlackBerry used to have. I don't mind that. And so probably that's why I kind of like Hangouts, because it was like a complete messaging app.
And do you remember the world of search before Google? I mean, my recollection, interesting to know whether anyone who was using it around this time, possibly Warren or John, agrees. But before Google, I sort of think there were 4 search engines and they were all regarded pretty much similarly. And that was Webcrawler, Yahoo, Lycos, and AltaVista. And you might try all of them for a bit. But then obviously Google came and you Googled stuff.
I remember those. And then there was something called the Web Ferret, and you have Phone Ferret, File Ferret. So if you're looking for a particular file,
I remember those. Yeah, I remember
remember
Phone
that.
Ferret. Yeah. Yeah, I'd
It was
I'd
beautiful.
forgotten about those. They were a bit later. Yeah, they were a bit
Yeah.
later, weren't they? They were maybe, oh, yeah.
We're talking in the
Not very
mid
much later.
90s here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, late 90s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I loved it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, there wasn't really like you'd go to that search and you might check Yahoo, you might check Lycos as well, mightn't you? You probably didn't just go to one.
Did you guys remember 2 cows or 2 cows or 2 cows? I think it was
I don't think I know that one.
TUCOWS. Yeah, there was 2 cows or 2
No,
cows.
No.
Interesting.